It was supposed to be a fun vacation cruise. A few days at sea, warm Caribbean air, good food, dancing on the deck. The kind of trip you dream about for years and finally take when life slows down. 376 passengers boarded the SS Yarmouth Castle in Miami on the night of November 12th, 1965. Most of them were older couples, retirees, people who had worked hard their whole lives and finally had a little time to enjoy it. They were smiling when they boarded. But by morning, 90 of them were dead. And the ones who were supposed to save them, they were already gone. This is the story of the SS Yarmouth Castle.
November 12th, 1965. The SS Yarmouth Castle left Miami, Florida, heading to Nassau, Bahamas. Nearly 400 passengers were on board, mostly older couples, retirees, people who had worked hard all their lives and finally had time to enjoy it. They were laughing, dancing, eating good food. The ship was old, built back in 1927, but it was still moving, still floating, and the night air was warm and sweet. Nobody had a single worry in the world. One passenger, Frank Killingsworth, a 67-year-old retired teacher from Ohio, stood on the deck with his wife Margaret. They had saved for 3 years for this trip. Margaret squeezed his hand and said, "Frank, this is the most beautiful night of my life." Frank smiled and looked out at the black ocean. He had no idea that deep inside the ship, in a small storage room near the bow, a mattress was slowly beginning to burn.
It started small. A smoldering mattress in storage room 610. Nobody knows exactly how. Maybe a cigarette, maybe old wiring in a ship that was simply too old to be trusted. But the real tragedy was not the fire itself. The real tragedy was what happened next. The fire burned quietly for almost an hour before anyone noticed. When a crew member finally saw the smoke, he panicked. He ran, but not to wake the passengers, not to sound the alarm. He ran to tell the officers. And those officers, instead of immediately raising the alarm, hesitated. They argued. They wasted precious minutes deciding what to do. By the time anyone pulled the alarm, the fire had already eaten through 2 decks. Frank and Margaret woke up to the smell of smoke. Frank opened their cabin door, and the hallway was already filled with thick black clouds. He grabbed Margaret's hand, and they ran, barefoot in their night clothes, not knowing which way was out.
This is the part that still makes people angry 60 years later. As the fire exploded through the Yarmouth Castle, passengers were screaming, running, falling. The lifeboats were their only hope. But when terrified men and women reached the lifeboat stations, they found something unthinkable. The crew was already in the lifeboats, without the passengers. Senior crew members had lowered lifeboats, climbed in themselves, and rowed away from the burning ship, leaving nearly 400 passengers behind to die. The captain himself, Captain Byron Voutsinis, was seen leaving the ship before most passengers had even woken up. Margaret Killingsworth reached a lifeboat station and found it empty. A young crew member, one of the few decent ones, grabbed her arm and helped her jump to a passing rescue ship. But in the chaos, Frank was separated from her. She screamed his name into the fire and smoke. Nobody answered.
2 nearby ships, the Finn Pulp and the Bahama Star, saw the flames and raced to help. Their crews, unlike the Yarmouth Castle's own crew,
did everything right. They pulled survivors from the water. They sent their own men into danger. But for 90 people, it was already too late. Frank Killingsworth was found the next morning. He had helped 4 other passengers into a lifeboat before the smoke took him. He never made it out himself. Margaret survived. She later told reporters, "The ocean didn't kill my husband. The people who were supposed to protect us, they killed him. They chose themselves." The captain and senior crew faced investigations. New maritime laws were passed because of that night. Ships were inspected more strictly. Safety training became mandatory worldwide. But for the 90 who never came home, and for every Margaret who lived with that loss, the laws came 60 years too late. Some ships sink because of storms. Some sink because of ice. The Yarmouth Castle sank because of cowardice. 90 people never made it home that night. They had boarded the Yarmouth Castle with suitcases full of hope, retirement trips, anniversary celebrations, hard-earned vacations after decades of honest work. They deserved to come back, but they never did. The captain, Byron Vautsinus, the man who was supposed to be the last one off that ship, was one of the first to leave. He stepped into a lifeboat while hundreds of his passengers were still trapped, still screaming, still searching for a way out in the darkness and smoke. The courts investigated. Laws were changed. New safety rules were written. Foreign ships carrying American passengers were now required to meet proper safety standards. Fire-resistant materials became mandatory. Better alarm systems were demanded worldwide. But for Frank Killingsworth and 89 others like him, those laws came 60 years too late. Margaret survived. She lived for many more years. But those who knew her said she never truly smiled the same way again after that night. The night she had called the most beautiful of her life. The Yarmouth Castle now rests somewhere on the ocean floor, rusted, silent, forgotten by most. But not by the families who waited at the dock in Miami. They are still waiting. Some disasters are caused by storms, some by ice.
The Yarmouth Castle was caused by the people who were supposed to protect you, choosing themselves instead.